Fantastic. Sheila, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this interview with us. Really appreciate it. And also
My
for bearing
pleasure.
with us, oh, brilliant, bearing with us with all the technical difficulties this morning. As we were saying, tech is wonderful when it works,
Absolutely.
but yeah. We can put a rover on Mars and soon people on Mars, but apparently conversations just around the corner are still a bit of a hassle.
Yeah. So it would
Yeah.
seem, but never mind. We'll get there in the end.
We absolutely will. We absolutely will. So, okay, Sheila, as always with these interviews, I am dying to hear a little bit more about you, your background, and what got you started on this path. What brought you to being in the spiritual world a little bit more?
Well, it's not that it brought me, I was brought into it. It was something that was already a part of me. I mean, from childhood, was into to plants and massaging family members and animals and growing things. So it's always been there. It's always been a part of me. And I strayed away for a while and did things like banking and and other, legal work, other kinds of things. I've had various careers over the years, but the one constant that was in my life was to do healing work. And that's what in the end I had to return to, because that was who I was.
Right. And it's actually so interesting that you say that because some people sort of go through this great awakening at some point in their life and realize that something's missing. But a great many people have stories like yours where they say this was always just kind of something that was a part of them. And then they just kind of realize that, you know what? I've really got to dig a little bit deeper into this and really find my path and see how I can start to help the world around me. And I think now more than ever, we're seeing more and more people realizing that the help is so desperately needed.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And uh, for me and I think my fellow therapists and people who are involved in healing work, of course we're seeing an upswing in the amount of people in distress, the amount of people seeking help, the amount of people seeking a different way, whatever that may mean for them. um and the as I said, the healing work was something I had always kept coming back to, or ran kind of parallel to my life as an investment banker and as a paralegal and whatever else, broadcaster, whatever else I was doing, I was still always doing healing work. And it
Right.
wasn't until a transformational retreat that I attended for women in 2017 in Morocco that it
Mm,
finally dawned on me that what I had to offer people shouldn't be hidden away, shouldn't be kept almost like a dirty little secret, but
mm,
needed to be shared. And a message that I got from a spiritual site entrepreneur coach, which was quite interesting, said if your business isn't thriving, it's because you're trying to serve two masters. And that just
mm.
me right between the eyes. And it was true. I was into network marketing. I was into this. I was into that. I was into something else. And, it wasn't getting me anywhere. And it was just leaving me frustrated and in some cases broke. So it's just like,
Right.
this is getting old. I need to stop this. And that's when the shift really started to occur for me. And I really started to, instead of running away from the gift I was given, to actually embrace
Mm,
it, and that made all the difference. Because I was being myself, as opposed to being what other people thought I should be, or what I thought I should be, or what society determines that I need to be, and it none of that was working. I'd have to laugh because I say my father was either was very psychic and predicted accurately, or just saw something in me. But from the day I was born, he named me his little maverick. So, and a maverick, as
wow.
is those untamable horses. You just can't, you
Yeah.
cannot break them. You cannot tame them. And I get maybe that was self-fulfilling prophecy or an accurate assessment, but I have always had to go my own way. And when I have not, I've just created headaches for myself, created agony for myself, and just not living up to my potential when I did that. So I just came to the conclusion that it was time to, as the expression goes, piss or get off the pot and,
Right.
and be who I've got to be.
Well, that is such a beautiful story. And thank you for sharing that because I think, especially in today's day and age, there is still a little bit of fear around, even in the spiritual community, being authentic because people are very worried, oh, what are others going to think about us?
Sure.
And when that sort of fear goes away, the next one, which you rightly brought up, is, am I even going to be able to make a living off of this? If I'm really focused on this, is that something that people would really want? And there are so many success stories out there.
Mhm.
Yes, please continue.
And I think you're right that it's fear that holds people back, whether from fear that people will think they're weird or crazy, which was my fear for many years. That okay, grow up, you're short, you're black, you wear thick glasses, you're considered a brainiac, and then tell people you can interpret dreams as well. That was just that's just really a bridge too far. I couldn't go there. I mean, I think age and experience has had something to do with that. I mean, I'm older now, so it's like, quite frankly, there's 8 billion people on the planet. If I'm not the right person for you, deal with the other 8 billion. It's not a problem. So I've become more secure in myself and therefore able to stand up and say, this is who I am. And because I've always been a maverick and always just gone my own way, whether whatever people were saying or doing, um that stands me in good stead now, because it's like now I have the age and the wisdom a bit to kind of back it up, as well as experience and training and a gift that I was born with. So I just feel like a complete person, as opposed to bits and pieces of myself
Mm,
being brought to bear in banking, or being doing legal work, or doing broadcasting, or whatever it was I was doing. Even working for many years as a therapist, um, to a certain extent, I was closer to being my full self, but it took me having to step out, on my own, and with all the attendant mistakes that implies, because I was learning as I was going. That really made me become the person that I feel I'm really happy with today. I mean, yeah, there's little things I could change, but
of
I look
course.
in I look in the mirror and I see somebody that I'm happy to look at and be with, and that to me is more important than anything.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. And that's something that, I mean, I say to my clients all the time as well, is you've got to look at yourself in the mirror. You've got to spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 and a quarter days a year with yourself. You may as well be really happy with who you are and be your own best friend. So, yeah. But now, Sheila, you've touched on something there, which is actually the main topic of this discussion, and it's what you do.
Mhm.
And that is that you work specifically with interpretation of dreams.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I think people tend to dismiss their dreams.
Well, dreams have both a physiological as well as a psychological impact on us. For example, when I was doing drug and alcohol counseling as part of my psychotherapy training and
Mm-hmm.
post qualification, what I found is that people who are, as long as they're drinking or taking drugs or whatever it is they're doing, they're not dreaming.
Mm,
They go to such a deep level of sleep that they bypass the normal state phases of sleep, which include dreaming.
right.
When they stop the drinking and drugging, what happens is they're dreaming constantly, dream after dream after dream after dream after dream, to the point where this is where people have what seems to be psychotic episodes, because their conscious mind is so flooded with all of this stuff that they have been pressing down and repressing for so long, that it actually overruns and overwhelms the conscious mind, and they start acting like they're hallucinating, and that's because of the unconscious mind. Another thing, there was a story, some research done at the University of Chicago, and the researchers found that, looking at a group of women who had been diagnosed as clinically depressed and not and recently divorced, what they found was that the women who, during the sleep study, when they were woken up during their dream phase and asked what they were dreaming about, they were usually dreaming about their ex or some aspect of their relationship. There was a group of women who did not dream or did not remember their dreams, and the women who could not remember their dreams or did not dream at all took longer to recover and did not recover as well as the women who did dream. So there is a physical price that we pay for not dreaming, as well as a psychological price that gets paid when we're not discharging these stresses that we pick up during the day. They come back at us at night.
Right. That is very interesting because in my own training, my esoteric training, we dreams are touched on but not really explored too much. We are taught to use a dream journal nightly, and that is because the understanding is there's three types of dreams. One being psychic premonitions, which happens every so now and then. The other being the mind at play, where it's just playing about and seeing what it can do. And then the third being what you're kind of talking about, actually de-stressing, where it's deconstructing the events of the day and using that in order to alleviate some of the mental stress that we may have built up.
Sure. I mean,
And you, yeah,
oh,
sorry.
no, sorry. I mean, yes, you're right. I mean, that is part of the role that dreams play. But let me show you another aspect that dreams have. Do you know how many things have been invented because of dreams? Starting with
Really?
Google, starting with Google, sewing machines, Shelley's novel Frankenstein, though I think that may have been a nightmare. Uh, um, Einstein's E equals MC squared came on the back of a dream. So dreams are not just a way of de-stressing; they are our path to creativity as well. There's problem solving. I have identified more or less about four different aspects that dreams have in terms of what they do. One is that smokestack we talked about, burning off stress. The
Mm-hmm.
the other one is a snapshot. It's it to basically a little message saying this is what it's like with your soul right now. So it gives you a little snapshot of
Mm.
the here and now. Then you have, again, like I said, the creativity of problem solving dreams. And finally, what I call the big medicine dreams, the dreams that even years later you will remember as clearly as it happened like the day before, because they're so powerful and the message is so profound. One message that I had in a set of, well, a repetitive dream, that this recurring dream frightened the life out of me, and if I hadn't listened to it, I very much doubt that I would be sitting here today talking to you, and that's the truth.
Wow.
So dreams have a lot of power, they have a lot of energy, and they have the power to shift things if we pay attention and not just think that dodgy takeaway dinner, cheap, or
Right.
something of the sort. I had ate too late before going to bed. And there could very well be physiological reasons why you're not sleeping, and or having, or having disturbed sleep and crazy dreams. Since the pandemic and lockdown, people have been dreaming quite a lot, and a lot, can be
Mhm.
nightmares, but it's also people's attempt to make sense of everything, and to get a handle on what to do next. So the dreams have many functions, and it would do us well to pay attention to what they have to tell us, because they can literally help you order your life and move in the directions you need to be moving in.
So you touched on something there that I would kind of like your expert opinion on, something that I've used in the past,
Mhm,
because I stumbled across a training system that effectively it uses various things like binaural beats and auto suggestions,
mhm,
to get you to be able to send a message to your subconscious mind that you're wanting to dream of something specific. In my case, I normally use it for solutions to problems.
mhm.
And well, the first couple of times I tried it, I thought, no, this is just all hokey. It's not real. It can't possibly work. And I remember I was busy helping a client build a website, and we couldn't understand why this particular plugin was just not working. And no matter what we did, it
Mm.
just refused to work. And I looked at this training at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I thought, you know what? I've got nothing to lose. And that evening, just before going to sleep, I played this training for myself.
Mhm.
And at the end, I instructed my subconscious mind that I would really like a solution to this problem.
Okay.
Kind of thinking that, again, what have I got to lose?
Yeah.
And the next morning, I get up and I'm brushing my teeth, and I stop midway and I look at myself in the mirror, and clear as day, I remember this dream where I'd gone into the back end of this website, navigated to a portion that I never utilized, and there was this one toggle switch that I needed to flip. I ran back to my desk to see if this was just, ridiculous,
Mm.
clicked onto the website, and true as day, there it was. This one switch was off, switched it on, and everything worked. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I would never have thought of that. And yet it came to me in a
Exactly.
dream.
Well, this is it. This is, like I said, the problem solving or creative ability of
Yeah.
dreams. The other thing is, what you're talking about is slightly different from what I do. Now,
Okay.
dreams can be used as, just as you did very successfully, where you're telling your unconscious mind what it is you need to work
Hmm.
on. I do the same thing as well, and wake up the next day or during the course of the day, something pops in. It's like, oh, okay, that's what that's about, and go on. But what I do is not quite programming the unconscious mind. Here, in this case, you're telling the unconscious mind, okay, I want to do X, Y, Z, and you're going to help me do it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What I do is not to dictate, but to listen. I'm
Okay.
I'm not telling the unconscious what I want to know. I'm asking the unconscious to reveal to me what it knows. There's a vast difference
Huh.
between the two.
Yes.
Our conscious mind, remember my example about the people who are taking drugs, and how the unconscious can flood the conscious mind when they're not
Yes.
taking out drugs and alcohol. Well, the unconscious mind is vast. The
Mm.
psychologists and psychotherapists look at it as Freud had said, the unconscious is a cork bobbing on the ocean of the unconscious. So our conscious
Love
mind
that.
only can only see this much, whereas the unconscious can see this much, expand.
Right. Yes.
So because if we were to take in all the stimuli that's around us 24/7, all the time in our conscious mind, our brains would just implode from the overload. We couldn't take it.
Absolutely.
But the
Yes.
unconscious is clocking everything
Everything.
constantly. So that, when we're not no longer distracted with the tables and chairs of daily life, what happens is the unconscious will float up a message, and to say, as if to say, hey, you need to look at this. This is important. Take a look. Um,
Mm.
so that's what I'm doing is listening. Kind of opening the space, making the space as conducive as possible for the dream to appear. And this is what I teach people how to do. And then letting the dream speak. Now, once that happens, once the dream has presented whatever it's going to present, then the fun begins because then you have to crack the code. Because every person and every dream is particular to that person. So the symbols in that
Mm.
dream are particular to the person. So, that's why people say, "Oh, but what about dream books?" Dream books are great if you're one of 8 billion people who, fits a cookie cutter mold. But is a
Right.
dream book going to take into account that maybe you're going through a bad divorce and you've always wanted to be a dancer and your kids are driving you crazy. Do they take into account that? I don't think so. So, you know,
Mm.
so the even the people that appear in our dreams are significant in that the people that appear in our dreams, they may look familiar, but may not necessarily be themselves. They may represent aspects of the dreamer. So, there's a lot of play going on, but because the dream comes from us and is about us, therefore the symbols that are pertinent to the dream are going to be pertinent to us and not somebody else. So, the color yellow for you may mean something different than the color for yellow for me. Um, you know, uh,
Right.
so it really entails a person to go in a bit deeper and to understand what those different symbols actually mean for them. And that's what
And
I'm
thank
doing.
you for right. Thank you for saying that because one of the things that's kind of always caught me is, if I talk to any of my friends and I go, I had this dream, for instance, if I dream about snakes, people always go, oh, well, that's obviously a snake in the grass or someone who's, trying to get at you. You need to look out and
Mm,
look for forked tongues. But for some strange reason, I've known since I was a child that when I dream of snakes, or it's always usually one very large snake, it's
mhm.
actually some form of representation of power. I don't know why. I don't know where that comes from, but
Doesn't
I just
matter.
know it. I just know it to be so.
Exactly. And
And
that's exactly what I'm talking about. To be familiar enough and comfortable enough with yourself that
mm,
that you can learn to and come to understand what these symbols are and what they represent for you. Now for me, a snake represents something similar but not entirely the same thing. For me,
mm,
snakes are the sort of like Mercury or Iris, the messenger between the worlds.
right.
They shed their skin so that from Egyptian times there was something about renewal and
Mm,
eternity and whatnot involved with snakes. But they can represent wisdom, they can represent danger, they can represent all kinds of things for people. But
mm,
my snake in my dream is not your snake in your dream. No,
right.
there's no expectation that it should be because it's particular to you.
Fantastic. Well, Sheila, this has been such an enlightening discussion, but I am obviously cognizant of the fact that we did schedule a certain amount of time.
Yes,
And due to technical difficulties, I've taken up way more of your time than I intended. So apologies for that.
that's all right.
But before I let you go, I know you have shared your social media handles with me.
Yes.
And for those of you who are catching this replay, the handles will be in the description of this video.
Mhm.
But Sheila's also going to be a speaker at the Wellness Lifestyle Conference
Yes.
that is coming up now in June. We're really looking
Looking
forward
forward to
to
that.
having you, and we're very grateful. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. But Sheila, if people want to get in touch with you directly, maybe you want to just say a few words as to how they do that and how you would be able to help them.
Well, if you can reach me on all kinds of social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp. I'm pretty much everywhere. Sheila Balgobin. You can look me up by my name or as the Dream Decipherer. You'll be able to find me quite easily. My website is www.sheilabalgobin, all one word.com. And the way that I help people is to I help them to gather the disparate parts of themselves so that they're able to tap into who they really are, what they really
Hmm.
need to thrive, and then develop having techniques for self-care so that they don't get sidetracked or detract from what they who they truly are and what they need to be doing in this life. I call it the RPM Quick Start Program, and the R stands for rest, the P for prepare, and the M for move on. And that's what I
Oh,
help people to do.
fantastic. That sounds awesome. Well, Sheila, again, it has been an honor and an incredibly enlightening discussion. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to having another discussion with you very soon. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure. I'm so looking forward to this experience. So hopefully we'll get the chance to chat during the conference.
Absolutely. We definitely will. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much. And you have a great
Cheers,
day
Sheila.
as well.
Thank you. Cheers then. Bye.
Bye bye.